I'd like to call this meeting to order, please. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will the clerk call the roll?
Mayor Primoroso?
Here.
Vice Mayor Jablin? Here. Councilmember Russo? Here. Councilmember Tinsley?
Here.
Councilmember Levy?
Okay, first up, we have the reorganization tonight for the appointment of the mayor and the vice mayor. So we'll do the nominations for the appointment of mayor first, and I will open up the floor to entertain any motions.
I would like to nominate Eric Jablin to be mayor.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion and second. Any other nominations? Okay, so I will close the nominations and bring it back for a vote.
Aye. Somebody can say all in favor?
All in favor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Congratulations.
Passes 5 days. Did you vote for yourself?
Yeah.
Okay, passes 5-0. Congratulations. I'll gladly hand this to you.
And Mr. Mayor, Mr. New Mayor, I'd like to nominate Councilman David Levy to be the vice mayor.
I'll second that.
And I'm going to nominate Marcy Tinsley to be vice mayor.
I'll second that.
This is like deja vu, what happened a few years ago with me.
Okay, well, why don't we take the first one first, David Levy. Let's take a vote on David Levy. All in favor?
Oh, wait. Before we take a vote, let's just have a little
You want to
discussion.
discuss it? Fine.
Okay, here's look, this is going to be my last organizational meeting, so I guess it's kind of neat that we have this going on because we've had it going on a few other times. As we all know, we have term limits, and this city is going to struggle going forward without continuity on the council. David is the only one that's sitting up here that has the ability to sit, in 2 years, and I just really feel that it's important that he become the vice mayor and take it with him going forward. I just really importantly feel, I think Marcy's qualified also, but it's a different situation today because of term limits, and I think continuity and hopefully David, and I also, by the way, I know that there's been a lot of talk about me becoming the mayor this year and so forth, and people felt because after 26 years, me in my last year sitting on the council, I should be the mayor and going out as a mayor, and I really don't believe in a lame duck mayor. I think that, I think it's very important, and again, we're going to struggle because next year you're going to have 3 lame duck council people, but I think it's very important for the city to go forward and to have some type of continuity. And that's why I wouldn't have wanted to be a mayor today. And I'm hopefully that David will seek re-election and he will win. And whatever everybody decides next year, it's somebody else's decision. But if David isn't here, then it's up to whatever everybody wants to do. But anyway, it's just a matter of opinion and so forth.
And I'd like to just say something as well. David, I totally have full confidence in you being vice mayor and mayor, as you were. I do want to say, though, that I cannot support that because personally, I feel that each and every one of you have had an opportunity to be vice mayor and to be mayor, and there is term limits. And with 2 years left on the council, I would like to have that opportunity to be vice mayor and mayor as well. I think that, again, I totally have full faith in your abilities, and it has please don't take any offense to my comments. I just think that I am a committed council person. I've proven to be a committed council person. I'm dedicated to the city, and I think I would be, I think I would like to have that opportunity, and I'm just going to leave it at that. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, can I just jump in here, too? Marcy, I think the world of you. I really do. I think you're a terrific person. You've been a terrific council person for the last 4 years. You've been wonderful. And but I have to tell you, I'm concerned about the turnover as well, because the 4 of us are going to be leaving in 2 years. And Joe's leaving next year. there's going to be a leadership gap in the city, and it worries me. And it really worries me that the term limits that have been imposed on this council in the charter are only 6 years. And that means there's going to be a tremendous amount of turnover on this council. I don't want to address that necessarily, but it is a fact, and that's something we have to deal with going forward. And David has the experience. He's been the mayor. He's been mayor for several years. He's done a wonderful job. And with all due respect to you, I think you'd make a fine mayor as well. But I'm concerned about the fact that last year we will be lame ducks. And the one thing David does bring to the table is that he will not be, because he has the ability to run again in the following year. Now, I don't know what's going to happen with term limits. I really don't. There's been talk. I've read some blogs today. There seems to be rumors out there, and maybe we'll talk about that later. And I'd welcome any discussion about it. But I do feel that if the status quo continues and we do not, and the term limits are going forward are what they are today, we need a strong mayor who has the ability to continue on into his next term. Now, Marcy, you have the ability to step off the council and run again. I don't. Well, I do, but I'm not going to. I'm 73 years old. I am not going to run another election. I don't want to. So that the torch is being passed to younger people, and I think that's wonderful. But you will have an opportunity, I believe, in the future, especially with all of the experience that you've garnered over the last several years. And so I'm going to be supporting David for for that reason, and that reason alone, and not because of I don't feel that you are anything but qualified. I just think that the term limits are the problem.
And I just want to respond. I appreciate your comments. Thank you for the kind words. I'm talking about these 2 years, not the next 2 years. And David has obviously the opportunity of being mayor and vice mayor after all four of us, I should say, are gone. And I don't like the term lame duck. I don't know where it came from originally, but I plan on continuing to be a very good council person dedicated to the city, whether I am termed out or not. And I plan to work very hard for our city to make it the best place to live, work, and play. Every day during my term as council member, vice mayor, or mayor. So I just wanted to state that. So a lame duck is not something that's in my definition, and I think that's a silly justification.
Well, and I'll respond, and then we'll take a vote.
And I'm not going to go back and forth.
No, I know. I just want to say this.
That I don't believe in lame duck act.
I totally understand what you're saying, but
It's only a matter of opinion, how everybody...
It is a matter of opinion, and that's why I would not want to be mayor myself next year, and that's the same reason Joe did not want to be a mayor on the last year of his service as well. I don't feel comfortable doing that, and that's my opinion, and I hope you'll respect it, and I hope we continue to be colleagues and work together, and with no feelings, bad feelings going forward. I must say, and I'll say this one more time, I've been passed over for mayor and vice mayor many times.
And you had 20...
All of us have. And so, and I go forward. That's it.
Look, there was a time like a few years ago when I had 2 votes to be mayor and David had 2 votes to be mayor, and the majority of council felt that David should be the mayor. That's just the way it goes. It's a matter of opinion. I think both myself and David were both I might have been a little more qualified than David, but we were both, I'm only kidding. Of course, I'm only joking. We were both qualified. And it's just a matter of opinion, so it's just...
And you still get along, which is good.
That's right, exactly. That's the important thing.
So having discussed it, let's take a vote. All those in favor of David Levy as vice mayor, say aye.
Aye.
It carries 4 to 1. Thank you. I appreciate it. And thank you, Marcy, really, thank you. Okay, moving on. I'm a little green at this, you know. Haven't done this in many, many years, but I'll pick up as time goes on. Patty, you've got to read Resolution 12, 2015.
Resolution 12, 2015, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, appointing the mayor and vice mayor for the city, providing an effective date and for other purposes.
And the names in there?
And the names will be added in accordance with the motions that have been made. So
Chair will entertain a motion, Resolution 12, 2015, with the names Eric Jablin as mayor and David Levy as vice mayor.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes 5-0.
4-0.
4-0. Okay. 4-1.
4-1.
4-1. There were no abstentions. Okay. Additions, deletions, and modifications, are there any?
No, sir.
Okay. Announcements and presentations. Riverside Youth Enrichment Center accreditation, POC, Laura Schubert. Laura.
Good evening. For the record, Laura Schubert, Director of Recreation. And tonight, I'm thrilled to be here with these wonderful people in red to celebrate the Riverside Youth Enrichment Center Apple accreditation. Yay, yes.
They're wearing the right colors.
They really are. It's been an amazing journey, some tears and laughter and other things probably going on, but it's just been an amazing journey for all of us to go through this accreditation. With us tonight, we have Megan Kossoff, who's the Director of Communications for the Florida Association of Child Care Management and the Apple accreditation. And Megan's going to tell you a little bit about the process and really what it's taken to get this accreditation. So, Megan.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me be here tonight. It's a real treat. I was a resident of Palm Beach Gardens for a long time, and I love it, and it's great to be in front of you guys again. Thank you so much. And I'm here to talk about Riverside and Youth Enrichment Center and their recent accreditation with Apple. And I just wanted to take some time and kind of explain what the Apple accreditation is, what it means, and why it's such an achievement that they recently achieved. So we have Apple accreditation, and that's an acronym for Accredited Professional Preschool Learning Environment, and it's a nationally accredited learning environment program. We have over 900 early learning centers in the state of Florida, and when a school achieves Apple accreditation, they automatically meet the standards for Gold Seal. So that brings a whole lot of benefits to the center as far as sales tax exemption on school supplies and materials, an increase in reimbursement for subsidized care, and ad valorem tax relief as well. However, above all, the most important thing about becoming Apple accredited is that it provides the confidence to the parents of the students that are enrolled in Riverside Youth Enrichment Center that they're receiving quality care for our youngest citizens. Apple accreditation is completely voluntary, and accredited schools have lower student-teacher ratios. They have a higher level of education for their teachers. They provide more one-on-one time for the students, and there's many other standards that are designed to improve the quality and the safety of the learning environment for our children. This means that the schools choose to undergo this self-discovery process that takes about 18 months, and it's a rigorous accreditation that they have to provide documentation. They are evaluated, and eventually one of our technicians comes and verifies all of that they have proven to be true, and then their final determination is made by our governing board. It is not an easy task. Many schools do not pass to achieve this recognition. And when Riverside Youth Enrichment Center set out to become accredited, Director Christy Murphy engaged the entire team. All of the teachers here had a stake in becoming accredited and the success of that accreditation. With the help and the support of the entire team and the clear mission guiding their way, they became Apple accredited on February 3rd of this year. We are incredibly proud of Riverside, and we look forward to seeing their center grow and the continued success that I know that they will have. And with that, I'd like to present this award and the actual accreditation to Christy Murphy and the entire team.
Thank you, Megan. This is quite an honor, and we could have not achieved this without the amazing staff that we are fortunate to have. Everyone got on board working together to make this goal happen. I also want to thank the City Council for your support over the last 18 months. It shows the community how much value you have in Riverside Youth Enrichment Center and the families that do live in Palm Beach Gardens. I also want to say thank you to FACM's Accreditation Board. They were so very helpful and supportive throughout this process. We are very proud to accept this certification and be considered an accredited facility. Thank you.
Thank you, Christy. You and your staff have done such an amazing job over all these last 12 years. I remember coming to Riverside 12 years ago when we cut the ribbon, and to go there every year during Thanksgiving and some of the times that we participate is really uplifting. To see those kids, those smiling faces, the little babies. I mean, you take them from their mothers early, but you allow them to visit, and it's so, during the day, it's wonderful. It's a wonderful program, and it's kudos to our city manager for having started this program in the first place. It really, he deserves a lot of credit for having started this, and you deserve a lot of credit for taking that ball and running it down to the goal line. You did a great job. Thank you. Okay, next is, no. Items of resident interest and board committee reports. David?
Okay, I always start off with the fun stuff, right?
Yeah.
I attended the Loxahatchee River Management Coordinating Council meeting, which was on March 23rd, and I wanted to tell you, we actually had a presentation on the Avenir project, not about whether we're for or against it, but where it is in the process and what the current proposal is. Dawn, stand up. She did a great job with that presentation. We were well represented at this meeting, and there were some good questions asked, and of course, some great concerns brought forward by the coordinating council that have now been given to staff so that they can incorporate those into their reviews. We also had it's kind of, there's this list of different items that we have that different agencies are supposed to do. That's about 60 different items, and we had an assessment of where we are as far as the restoration of the river goes. We also talked about, and this is a different subject, a oxbow restoration project. And what an oxbow is, as rivers meander like this, a natural river actually will cut itself off and create what's called an oxbow. Now, what's happened in the oxbow around Moonshine Creek is that people, by carrying their canoes to cut off that portion of the creek, the oxbow, have created a short circuit, creating an artificial oxbow. And what the Jupiter Inlet District wants to do is restore that oxbow, which will allow the river to become longer and therefore increase the freshwater head, which would push the saltwater barrier down. So if anybody wants to know more about that, talk to me after the meeting. But we went ahead and gave approval to go ahead with the oxbow restoration, which should help improve the health of the river and also make it a little bit more fun to canoe. Now, we also, last thing, was we asked the DEP to look at the watershed map, and the watershed is if a raindrop falls into your watershed and you're a river, that means that raindrop is going to go into the river. And that way we can kind of plan out the amount of water that the river is going to get because of the amount of rainfall that is in the watershed. There's some errors in the watershed, and by having the DEP correct where the watershed is, it will help us estimate the amount of restoration flow that we need to get from Mecca Farms or the L8 Basin. So I'll answer any questions if there are any.
Any questions?
Okay, and now I'm going to go out. By the way, we also did a look at the river health, and the river is very healthy. As a matter of fact, we've been able to meet the minimum flow guidelines all of 2014 except for one day, which is 35 cubic feet per second. So that's pretty good. Most of the time we were over 50 cubic feet per second, which is the suggested flow. I also attended, I'm sure you guys want to know more about that, but we're going to have to switch to the League of Cities meeting. I also attended the League of Cities Board of Directors meeting, which was on February 25th. Of course, we went through the financials. We have a new associate member, Enterprise Fleet Management. We made an appointment to the C-51 Governance and Finance Board. That would be Robert Weinwith of Boca Raton. We did an appointment to the regular seat of the Water Resource Task Force, Jason Hasselkorn of Juno Beach. And we appointed Mayor Darrell Aubrey of North Palm Beach to the Regional Hazardous Material Oversight Committee. So, I was involved in all of those committees. We also, I think this is kind of important, appointed Bob Gebbia to fill Bill Manuel's position on the executive board. And also we talked about there's going to be a change to the Commission on Ethics hearing language, and we discussed that about where to go to a 3-person panel or not. I believe we're supporting the county's changes on that. Nominating committee also met, and our slate of officers does include me as a large city representative to the executive board, and Commissioner Keith James was recommended to be the second vice president, so eventually he'll ascend to the presidency of the leagues. With that, we did get a legal report, and one of the things I think that is most important to note is that the state of Florida is requesting all county supervisors of elections, which I'm sure everyone has heard, to move all municipal elections to the primary date, which the state is setting. I think is it in January? It's in March, okay. So they're asking us to move our primary date, and the supervisor of elections basically, and Patty, correct me if I'm wrong, says if you don't move it to March 15th and you keep it the way that you have it, then you are paying for it and doing it yourself. If you move it to the 15th, of course, we'll assist you. So I believe that's what the supervisor has said. And I also asked if we could change that by ordinance, because our charter says second Tuesday of March, and we can change it by ordinance so we can comply with the supervisor of elections and the state of Florida's request. Some other things on the legal report, which I think is very important. As you may have known, that there have been several sham public records requests. One of the basic ones that they were doing, and this was Consumer Rights LLC versus Union County, was what Consumer Rights did was they sent an email to Union County, but they made it look like a spam mail, so that it basically got ignored, and without any requests, to fulfill the public records and clarify that this was not spam, they went, 30, 40 days, and then they sued Union County. Union County's defense was, well, we didn't recognize it as being a legitimate request for records, and the courts sided with them, with Union County, saying that this was not, in fact, and of course what it is the scam is you request records that you know aren't going to be fulfilled, and then you sue and you ask for attorney's fees. And that's basically what the scam is, and the courts actually said, listen, you've got to make it a reasonable request within a reasonable period of time and give them a reasonable expectation of fulfilling it. You can't just send a spam mail, sending out, asking for records and then sue. So that was a good thing on the records, and that pretty well finishes everything I've got.
Thanks, David. Marcy?
There's actually a bill that they're trying to pass to to work on that spam issue, which I brought up before, and they're still working on that. I attended the Tennis Center grand opening, and I'll be remiss to say that was a phenomenal event, and staff did an absolutely amazing job, not only with the event of the grand opening, but with the actual facility. I think that you developed the tennis courts in record time, I think, but done in a very great, excellent way. And I think everybody is very pleased. It's very popular. The facility is growing and growing, and I cannot tell you how many people have commented on what a fabulous facility it is. So I thank you, staff, for doing that, because I know it's going to be very well received in our city. And I also attended the Azure grand opening this morning. Once again, Natalie was mentioned in the grand opening, or it was actually a groundbreaking, I'm sorry. They were very pleased with not just Natalie, of course they called out Natalie, which I was very happy to hear. They were very, very pleased with how the entire city responded and worked with them during this land development process, and they look forward to the construction process. And it was a great event, and we look forward to having that development in our city. And with that, I just want to wish everybody a very happy Passover and Easter, and hope that it is blessed with happiness, prosperity, peace, and good health always. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcy. Joe?
Well, I'll start off then with also wishing everybody a happy Passover and Easter. It's funny, it falls in the same weekend this year, which is kind of nice. 'Cause
lunar calendars, you know.
All the families are together. I attended the Palm Beach County Hall of Fame dinner around 2 weeks ago, which Ken Kennerly was inducted into the Palm Beach County Sports Hall of Fame. I should have said Sports Hall of Fame. As you well know, he's the director of the Honda and has done a phenomenal job. And he got recognized for all his accomplishments. I just wanted to relate to the city that he thanked the city. He said, it's not about me, it's about our partners, and he did thank the city of Palm Beach Gardens for being such an excellent partner, and that it's this award for everybody to share. It was kind of neat because it really, when we see how that event has grown and what we've been able to accomplish there, it's just great to see other people recognizing it. As many of you came in here tonight, you saw a picture with us with the governor, and he came into town to visit a company called Levitas. As you know, the governor's very much pro-business, and it was nice to see him come in. But the story on Levitas is really a story of, people say there's not opportunity. Well, this is a company that started in a garage 5 years ago. Today, they're in downtown in the Gardens and have 95 employees. I mean, they're a digital marketing firm with clients throughout the world. Their client list, you say, how can they accomplish this and how can they get this? It's a whole unique way of working. I mean, they all come to work very, very casual. I mean, and they basically have, if you got something to do, that's fine. It's a whole different work environment. But I will tell you, it's very successful. I mean, it just goes to show you the day and age is entirely different than the way I used to be. But it's really neat to have a company like that in our city, and it was great that they were recognized by the governor, and it was great, that they're here and continuing to grow. I said to them if they ever need help, we're there for them. As we all know, the economic base of this city is really what we need, and it's great to have that company there. One other thing I just wanted to bring up. I read a blog today about that council members are floating, changing term limits and doing whatever, needs to be done. I don't know whether it was putting it on the ballot or whatever it is. I've been the longest member of this council. I've had the honor to serve the residents of this city, and it's truly been an honor for 26 years. Whether I agree with term limits or don't agree with term limits, I work for the people. The people decided here in November that they wanted term limits. Over 70% of the people voted for them, and that is their wishes. For anyone to have any discussion at this point would be a slap in the face of all the residents, and I think it would be a mistake. I want to see this issue put to bed. I did see a blog on it. I did get some calls on it, and I will tell you that this will be the biggest mistake that this city council ever does to take a look at this. We struggle up here and sit up here every week and struggle to make sure that residents trust what we're doing. If we were even to entertain this discussion, how can they trust their government when in effect 70% of them told us one thing and we would be looking to change something? I honestly believe if there's ever a point to address term limits, it's at the next charter review, which will probably be in 5 years, where there will be a history, and that charter review should be made up of residents, and that's the discussion point that should take place after we've had some experience with it, but not less than 6 months after all the residents decided that this is what they wanted. I thank the residents for what they wanted to do, and I just want for the record, I never floated any discussions, I never talked to anybody about this, and I personally think it would be a mistake, and if it ever did come up, I wouldn't support it. And I'd like to see the issue ended so we can go back and do business. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. My friend?
Let's see. Busy month, but I'll just go over a couple of highlights. The Chamber had their breakfast again in March, and the Executive Director of the Florida Department of Economic Opportunity came down to speak. Some of the highlights are, since December of 2010, the state of Florida has created over 800,000 jobs. Palm Beach County, I think, was number 5 in job growth in the state. We have a very low unemployment rate now, and not all those jobs are related to tourism and leisure. So construction, manufacturing, professional, there's a lot of other things on the table now where these jobs are being created. So I think we're in a really good sweet spot right now, and it looks like hopefully those things will continue this year, and then we'll take it on a year-by-year basis. But a great presentation by the director. Also, the Chamber coming up on April 15th, which is Wednesday, again at a PGA National. We're fortunate enough to have the CEO of the Florida Chamber of Commerce, Mark Wilson, speak again. He was here last year. He's an excellent speaker, dynamic of what's going on around the state of Florida. So I think if you had an opportunity to attend that, go on to the Chamber website and maybe RSVP if you want to see that, because he is really a great speaker and has a lot of great information about what's going on in our state. Also, I got an email from Commissioner Valashay with regards to the Vietnam Veteran Traveling Memorial Wall, which is here at Florida Atlantic University, the Jupiter campus. It will be here Saturday, April 11th. 10 a.m. is the opening ceremonies. And I guess the wall will be here Wednesday through Sunday that following week. So I think that's a pretty special event that we have that here in northern Palm Beach County. So he had sent that to me, and I just wanted to pass that along to everybody of what's going on. A couple of other events. I did attend the Applebee's ribbon cutting, which got delayed 3 or 4 times on North Lake Boulevard, but I finally got there, and they redid the whole building inside and out. The building must have been, I don't know, 15, 20 years old, but they redid the whole place. It looks fantastic, and I think the special part of that is, as you look through our city, it's always so great to talk about the vertical construction north that's going on in our city, but to me, the special part of what's going on in our city is along North Lake Boulevard and some of the older sections of our city, the redevelopment. As you go up and down North Lake Boulevard with additional landscaping, lighting, new projects being torn down and rebuilt, I mean, to me, that is exciting, because you're not just relying on new construction to kind of build the tax base, but you're building from within as well. So as I go down North Lake, I just smile when I see another sign or another construction thing or whatever's happening up and down that road, because I think that is so important to our city, is redevelop the old portions as well and not always focus on the new vertical and what's coming out of that. So thank you to the property owners, to the people along that street. Thank you to staff for your addressing what needs to be done there, and not necessarily caving to anything that we need to do, but making that a better avenue and not turning that into an Okeechobee Boulevard or something to where we can't rebound from. So our city deserves the best, from North Lake to Donald Ross, and I'm glad to see a lot of those redevelopments going on in that area, beautifying our city on the south end. So thank you to the property owners and the people making that happen. That's it.
Thanks, Bert. First, I want to thank my fellow council members for the vote of confidence in me by electing me mayor of this wonderful city this year. But first, I want to take this opportunity to pay tribute to a man who has been my friend and fellow councilman for the past 24 years. He served on this council longer than anyone in the history of the city, and has served as mayor longer than anyone in the history of this city. And with the advent of term limits, that record is likely to stand forever. Of course, I'm referring to who we endearingly like to refer to as our mayor for life, Joe Russo. I've known Joe for as long as I have lived in the Gardens, 28 years, and our moms and dad had known each other since then, before that. We each have watched our own families grow up here, and we've also watched and participated in the incredible growth of this city in that length of time. This is Joe's last year of remarkable service to this city, and next year will be my last year as well. I think I can speak for him in saying that this has been the best job we've ever had. We've had a unique opportunity to help shape this city. Thank you, Joe. Really appreciate it. Can I give you a hand?
Eric, before we go on, although it is an item of risk, Joe is a new grandfather, as we all know.
That's the other thing I wanted to say. I was saving that for last. But Joe has become a grandfather this past week, and Liliana Rose is a beautiful, look at that. Isn't that? Yeah, see? Isn't she beautiful? Now, she's a great addition to the Russo family. Congratulations.
Thank you. See, that's what happens. You term limited on one thing, and you start something else.
You start something else. You become a grandfather for life, just like
Eric, thank you for those kind words. That was very nice of you. And thank you for your service also.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I, too, want to wish everyone a happy Easter and a happy Passover. This is a great season. It happens to come together. My brisket is cooking right now as I'm here, and I hope my wife turns it off soon, otherwise it's going to be mush. But I've been cooking it all day. So this Saturday we're going to be eating it. So I, too, was at the Levitas presentation with the governor. It was really wonderful to see this terrific business thriving in our community. I also attended the tennis center opening. What a fabulous facility that is. I mean, the smiles on the faces of the people that play there are a testimony to how fantastic it is. And you guys have done such a great job. We up here really appreciate everything you've done. Really. I also went to the tennis center. To the ribbon cutting at the Benjamin Hall that the mayor couldn't attend, and I just have to tell you, Benjamin School has done a phenomenal job putting together an entertainment facility second to none. It's amazing. They spent almost $13 million on it, so you can imagine what it's like. And it holds almost 850 people, and it is a state-of-the-art hall. And I was really privileged to cut the ribbon. I also want to thank my colleague over here, Bert, for serving as mayor for the last 2 years. You did a fabulous job. I only hope I can emulate what you've done. It's going to take some time for me to get back in the swing of things, but I have done it before.
I'll just kick you under the table a lot.
All right, just give me a kick under the table. Okay. There are a couple of Boy Scouts in the audience tonight I wanted to recognize. Would Cameron Gaines and Jesse Williams stand up? These two young men are fulfilling an obligation for their Eagle merit badge for to become an Eagle Scout. Cameron, raise your hand. You're 2 badges away from becoming an Eagle Scout. And Jesse, raise your hand. You are 1 merit badge away from becoming an Eagle Scout. So, along with his father, Jason Gaines, from Troop 721, we salute you. And I hope when you achieve that last merit badge, you come back here wearing your Eagle Scout ribbons, and we'll be happy to take some pictures and honor you again. Okay? Thank you, guys. And I probably forgot something, but let's move on. Okay. Next is City Manager's report.
Mr. Mayor and Council, just a couple items to bring to your attention. The first one being a particular award of achievement. And I know it looks small in stature, but believe you me, it is not easy to obtain. It takes a lot of work. Once again, our purchasing department, which consists of Kumra, would you please be acknowledged? Thank you. Has received another certification, and this one is from the Universal Public Procurement Certification Council. It's been awarded to the City of Palm Beach Gardens for 2015. We received a letter from the chairman who from the UPPCC, and I'll just read one small paragraph. As you know, this award was created to formally recognize an agency's commitment to the value of certification in the public sector. Your organization is a fine example of what is becoming a strong indicator of success within state and local government. This accomplishment speaks volumes of your agency's commitment and dedication to the profession and skills and expertise that you bring to the public procurement industry. This is a very important award. As you know, we have our OIG, our IG, who has an accounting and a contracts section that every year goes into each municipality and does accounting work and also takes a look at contract management, and that is Kumra's job. We are very, very fortunate that our department is one department that is often held up as the example to follow, and that's due to a lot of work that Kumra and the other department heads put into this effort, and we're very proud of it because we've come a long way in a very short period of time in compliance with contract management and procurement process. And it's a big achievement, and we certainly take it seriously, and we want to thank the department heads and Kumra for achieving this award. Thank you. Now, the next item I'd like to bring to your attention is a presentation. Last April, at our council meeting last April, I brought to you a discussion that since we had a citizens' resident opinion survey conducted in 2006, and due to the economic situation that we were in over those few years, I would like to have had another one, but we just couldn't afford it at that time. So back last year in April, I let you know that we were going to be conducting another one, and we would be doing a comparison of how we did in 2006 as it appears that we're doing in 2015. The survey was done by Kerr and Downs, the same firm that did 2006. Questions were the same questions, so that we could get a profile of how we have progressed or not in certain areas. So here to present to you the results is Philip Downs, PhD senior partner with Kerr and Downs. He's going to do a presentation, and I know you got these surveys tonight. They were actually being edited last night until 6 o'clock. We made the revisions to them, and I made Alicia spend most of her evening printing and binding these reports. And thank you, Alicia, for working double overtime for getting these done. So they're hot off the press. I'd like for you to receive the presentation, and if you would like more time to look at them and maybe schedule a discussion of these results at another meeting, that would be perfectly all right. We need some time to look at the results and digest the information as well. So with that, I'd like to introduce once again Philip Downs. Thank you very much for being here, and we look forward to your presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and council members. I am Philip Downs, senior partner of Kerr & Downs Research, and we'll share the results. And as we go through these, if you have questions, feel free to jump in, and also have time at the end for questioning. This was a telephone survey, which is still the gold standard in our industry. Surveyed 400 of your residents, giving us a sampling error of just under 5%, which basically means if we had the opportunity and the time and the money to interview every single resident, we would be within plus or minus 5 percentage points of what you see. And the data were collected in January, so you're looking at fresh information. We'll go over the executive summary and then look at some of the results in detail. We ask people in an open-ended format, what are your concerns about living in this area? And growth and development, traffic and crime surfaced. And quite frankly, we do these in many municipalities and counties, and these are three of the ones you always see surface near the top. And we ask them, again, in open-ended questions, why they live here, proximity to family, weather, shopping, and restaurants were mentioned more frequently than other issues. And a very positive reaction from your residents. 96% said that they would definitely recommend living in this community. We typically see these results at least 90%, but 96% is a very strong result. We ask about city services, and many of these questions were on a 5-point scale, and we're presenting the top 2 boxes, which is a pretty common way of reporting survey results. So 84% were very satisfied with city services, and we gave your residents an opportunity to suggest if they wanted additional city services or if they wanted some city services taken away. And we got almost the identical answer to both those questions, with about 7 out of 10 residents saying we don't want any more services and we don't want any to be taken away. So the level of services seems to be quite appropriate. Then we had them rank various city services. The fire department scored a 98% on the top 2 scores on a scale. This is outstanding. There may be a municipality somewhere that gets 99 or 100%, but 98 is the highest that we've seen. The police department came in at 88%, Parks and Rec at 94. Those are all very strong scores. The staff must feel this, but over nearly half of folks said that they had contacted the city in the past year, with police and Parks and Rec being the 2 most frequently called departments. And then we had your residents rate their interactions with staff. 9 out of 10 gave staff high scores on courteousness and friendliness, and 5 out of 6, 83%, rated their evaluation of staff as being very effective. In the communications area, the scores were a little lower, and we'll see on the next slide why that might be. And your residents prefer mail to email just slightly. And we see this changing, and we have seen it change here, and it will continue to change, becoming more and more digital and social interactions. I mentioned that the score for communication was a little bit lower, and perhaps this explains some of that. I'm not sure that they were really evaluating the effectiveness as much as they were their awareness. And you can see here 1 out of 4 were actually aware that the meetings are broadcast by phone. 1 out of 3 actually were aware that you do live streaming and post online. So just a lot of folks out there don't realize the opportunities that they have for communication with the city. Fewer than 1 out of 10 said they had listened to or attended a meeting, and perhaps you have seen the faces, but about 4% have been to at least 3 meetings in the last year, and perhaps you can name those folks. Looking towards the future, 3 out of 10 said that they have a high likelihood of watching meetings. Most of the folks out there, nearly 100%, 96% have high-speed internet at home, 7 out of 10 at work, and when you put those 2 together, you're covering almost all of your community. 85% are aware of your website, and about half the folks have been to the website in the last 6 months. And most of your residents still get their news by TV, but email and the internet are strong seconds and thirds. We ask residents how much of their property tax bill goes towards funding city services, and the average score on that was 28%. So we had guesses from anywhere from practically 0 to about 80, 90%. So there's a lack of knowledge about what percentage of the property tax bill actually goes towards the city services. 80%, based on how much they pay and what they perceive they get in return, think that they get a good return on the taxes that they pay. And only 6% reported that they had been involved in the city budget process. We ask questions about growth and development, and what we see here are the percentages who favor various initiatives. 8 out of 10 wanting the city to buy more green space, 2 out of 3 favoring the bioscience project, and you can see the results as we go down. We talked to them also about their satisfaction with different types of growth and development, and we see high scores here for shopping, retail, restaurant, entertainment. And then the scores go down to commercial developments with 6 out of 10, thinking that they're highly satisfied with how the commercial areas have developed. Growth and development and traffic are still concerns. They were concerns in 2006. They're still concerns, but they are less significant concerns now. There's been some positive movement there. More citizens this time than in 2006 said that they had no concerns. That's a very positive reaction. Concern for crime was up, but we see that in all of our surveys. It's interesting. If you look at the crime statistics, and I'm sure the law enforcement officer can back me up on this, but the statistics are going this way, and people's perceptions are going the other direction. And nationwide, about 44% of the folks nationwide feel as if crime is a serious problem in their community, and here it's 15%. So even though that's a change from 2006, it doesn't seem to be a serious issue. We ask them about different transit issues, and they are interested in mass transit, exploring that opportunity, and there's some willingness to pay for that. Their ratings are up across the board. This has been a feel-good, from my perspective as an outsider coming in here. We have Eagle Scouts, we have Apple accreditation, Levitas, and I've heard lots of positive things in 30 minutes I've been here, and this survey is very consistent with that. Lots of positive news in this survey for you. I will go through these rather quickly. If you want to slow down and look at anything, please let me know. This is a bit busy, but this was the result to an open-ended question, and you can see that the highest score was that there are no concerns. And then we have growth and development, traffic, and crime. And you can see the blue bars there are 2015, the green bars are 2006. And so the no concerns is up, that's great. The level of concern on the top 3 are down. That was the top concern, and then we asked people about all of their concerns, so we take the top concern and add any other things that they have, and you can see, again, traffic, growth and development, the top 2, crime coming in at 3rd, and all of those scores are down significantly from 2006. The reason why they live here, family, weather, and shopping, this is their number 1 reason, and then if they seek more than one reason, we see the same thing surface at the top: shopping, family-oriented, friendly people, weather. 96%, I mentioned that was an outstanding figure, and that has jumped dramatically since 2006. 85% is good. 96% is nearly off the charts. And keep in mind that we had 3% who said that they would not definitely recommend. And so here, the way the 3% are distributed. So that's 54% of 3%. That's 1.5% of the population saying that it's overcrowded. And we have 23% of 3%. So we're looking at fewer than 1% concerned about crime, and that's why they won't recommend living here. Ratings of city services. Do people understand the services are provided? The score is up on that from 52 to 60% from 2006 to 2015. Overall satisfaction with the services provided, that's up from 74 to 84%. Should you provide additional services? That score actually went down. So the people are satisfied with the level of services. But those 13% who want more services, this is what they said. So 25% of 13% is about 4% of the folks out there say they want more mass transit. And about half of folks who said that they wanted more mass transit are willing to pay for it, pay something for it. Should the city stop providing services? 1 out of 6 said yes. So out of that 16%, we have about a quarter, so about 4% of the total population saying quit doing things in developing and landscaping and police patrol. So we're talking about 3 or 4%.
Really?
And those who wanted fewer services expect their fees to go down based on that. We have about 4 out of 10 who are willing to pay user-based fees. Satisfaction with the fire department, off the charts, 98%. That's up significantly from '06. Satisfaction with the police department is up significantly from '06, as is satisfaction with Parks and Recs. That's a tremendous move. 15 percentage point move is a sea change. 95% say that Parks and Rec are essential to this community. That's up. And we talked to them about public transportation systems, looking ahead 5 to 7 years. What do they think that you folks should be focusing on? The bus system came out on top, shuttle buses, and then light rail. And willingness to pay for public transit, we have the 2006 on the far right, the 2015 in the middle, and you can see those numbers have gone up in all cases. This was the question about what percentage of my property taxes go to city services, and you can see these answers are across the board here, from 0 to 80%, and the average is 28. In other words, they don't really know.
No.
But based on the taxes that they pay, all the taxes they pay, and the services that they get from the city, we had 80% adding those top 3 categories, 80% saying that they got an excellent, very good, or good return on their money. And only 6% have taken any actions to be involved in the budgeting process. That's even fewer. In fact, that's half as many as in 2006. Customer service, departments that they've contacted in the past year, police and Parks and Rec lead the way. And then the evaluation of staff, 9 out of 10 gave a high score. Effectiveness of staff, 5 out of 6, 83%. And if you look at those 2 scores, we see a 5 percentage point increase on courtesy and friendliness, a 13% percentage point increase on effectiveness. Communication got lower scores, as we mentioned before, but those are up from 2006. Preferred methods, mail has stayed strong, but you can see how email and e-newsletters has jumped way up. And 1 out of 4 said they were aware of phone broadcasts. That's up, nearly doubled from 2006. 1 out of 3 aware of your online streaming. 1 out of 3 aware of your posting. And the number of meetings attended, most folks just don't come. And then you can see at the bottom, 4% have been to at least 3 meetings in the past 6 months. And why they come? Well, they say they come to keep informed. And the likelihood of watching on TV, that has not changed significantly in the last 9 years. High-speed internet, you can see how that's increased over the last 9 years at work and at home, as has awareness of the website. We have about half the folks who go to the website, and they go there primarily for Parks and Rec. That's the number 1 piece of information that they're seeking. Should anything be added to the website? Well, the answer is basically no. They're looking for news from TV, and then some of the social media pop up below that. Growth and development, we sought their opinions on various initiatives. You can see the reactions there. The blue bars are they favor, and the green bars oppose. So the top 2 there, the favor versus oppose, significant margin. We have 4 out of 10 saying that they are more interested in taller buildings, only in the downtown area. 4 out of 10 more affordable housing. 8 out of 10 more green space. And 2 out of 3 more bioscience project development. These are average scores on a 5-point scale. The blue bar is 2015, the green 2006, and you can see increases in every one of those satisfaction levels across the two studies. And here are the breakdowns looking at year-to-year. Shopping and retail up 7 percentage points. Restaurant entertainment up 13 percentage points. The streetscape up 19 percentage points. Public art and public places up 22 percentage points. And residential developments up 22 percentage points. And finally, commercial developments up 18 percentage points. So, summarizing all this before we look at the demographics, I mean, this is a very positive picture. It's a very positive story. The one area, crime, where there's some concern, I mentioned that the concern here is 1/3 the concern that we see at the local level nationwide. Demographically, I guess the bottom line is that the demographics of the residents we surveyed matched the census data, and so these results are representative of your residents. So, questions, please.
Thank you, Dr. Downs. Any questions?
I have a question.
Any comments?
You had referred to a national average when you were talking about 44%, I think is what you said, for the crime national average increase or decrease when you were talking about our police fire. Is there a percentage rating of the surveys in general for some of these things that we can look at for a national average?
The National Opinion Research Center publishes information like that, and we did not purchase that for this study. We purchased it for a study for Miami Beach a few years ago, so the information that we have is a couple of years old. Mm-hmm. And I looked at that, not wanting to show you that information, realizing it's dated, but you are above the average in all areas, and in some areas like fire, you're at the very highest level.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And it was very interesting. You were talking about the 6% of the people that participated in the budget, and I think they're all sitting here in our council chambers.
Yeah, you're right. Any other questions? I think you did a good report.
Thank you.
Is this going to be on our website?
I was going to mention that.
Yeah.
Yes, I think we said Monday we could have it up Monday. Yes, we'll have it up on Monday. Tomorrow's holiday, so when we get back to work Monday, that'll be priority one.
Mm-hmm. Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good job. Good job. I'm looking forward to really reading this in thorough and taking some time to read it thoroughly, because going through that it's a little bit difficult, but it's an awful lot of information in there, and I appreciate it. The cross-section of the city that you took, I mean, they're from every neighborhood, is that it?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, good. All right, comments from the public for items not on the agenda. Mark Marciano.
Good evening, everyone. Mark Marciano, 10 Sheldrake Lane, Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. First of all, congratulations, Mr. Mayor. I think you're going to do a great job, and Mr. Vice Mayor. I think the council as a whole is very strong. I have confidence in all of you to maintain the level of professionalism that you have in representing the city. There's a couple of quick items I want to just throw out there just for a conversation later on. Regarding Lilac Field, I want to thank you guys. I never did come out and thank you for putting up the fences, or extending the fences behind part of the fields where the lake is down below. Although, in an effort to maintain the sod, and moving the nets in different positions, and in moving the nets in different positions to maintain the sod, of course, now the nets are in positions where the higher net is no longer there, so of course the balls are still flying in the lake, and I hate to see the kids down there looking for ways to fish the balls out of the lake. So if there's any way we can extend the fence all the way across, I think that would be smart. The city logo options, I didn't vote for either of them. I didn't think either of them were a good representation of the city. I think it should be something about more who we are. We're a golf community, we're a green community. I don't know if it's too late to change the options or represent them, but maybe a golfer with the banyan tree or something like that that would better represent who we are as a city, so when people look at it from other places, they'll know. As you know, I've always had an interest in what's happening in the state legislature, and as they say, no tax is safe, no municipality is safe when the legislature is in session. There's some discussions, maybe David, if you're with the League of Cities, if you have any comment, if the League is talking about some of the growth management issues and some of the changes that they're presenting regarding the agricultural enclave bills, when you can.
I think the county has taken that up more than the league has, because the current bill actually is dealing with unincorporated areas. And it certainly is an attack on home rule.
That's not true, actually.
Oh, it's not?
The bill has been changed to include, to remove the unincorporated language, and in fact, they added it to the entire county. So now it says county.
Yeah, so I understand.
And I sent Ron actually a link, if you wouldn't mind forwarding or maybe putting it on the link, because on the website, because it actually had some more information on that House bill.
These things are moving targets.
Yes, and the concern, of course, is not necessarily what happens within the city here, but what happens outside of the city and how that may influence what happens in our city, as there's, some tracts of land owned by some private entities.
Some of it may influence some things.
Well, GL Homes is supposed to be directly influenced by this, the GL Homes project.
Referring to 1244 and 933. Those are the Senate bill and the,
Not that you can do anything about it, but if there's...
Well, we have directed it from, what I understand, our city manager has directed Ballard and company or associates, who is our lobbyist, to follow and track that bill and to raise our objections to it.
Okay. And lastly, it's been a little bit controversial, Joe. This is no disrespect to you. I completely understand and feel why you don't want to be bringing up the term limit issue. You just saw a wonderful presentation about how the people of this city love what you've done. You've done a great job with the city. You've been on the council for a very long time. All of you have. Most people don't pay attention to it. When you saw the response of the residents of the city asking to approve the term limits, I think they were basically saying, kick the bums out. I don't think they were referring to you as kicking the bums out. They're all thinking about Congress. Such a small percentage of people actually pay attention to what happens in local politics, and you know that. I think there's an increased responsibility for this council to do something before you're no longer in office, to make sure that future councils are given all the tools. You're going to be voting on your city manager today. I think he's done a wonderful job, and I think the continuity is so important going forward in the short term, and asking David to maybe become mayor in the future, in the near future, next year, is also the reasoning for that. But you've got a real possibility, and I've always thought that term limits, especially 2 3-year terms, is not only short-sighted but dangerous. I understand, Eric, but also I think it's important that you do whatever you can to make sure that the residents of the city understand what they're getting into. And this is not a slight at you saying, we're going to impose my will on you. I think this is something that you need to educate the city, and if there's any opportunity to do something about it, I think it's your responsibility.
Thank you, Mark. I happen to agree with you on
and I had nothing to do with the blogs. I didn't read any of them. I don't know anything. This was just my own.
But I don't know if this is the time and place, but I think in the future we do need to talk about it. I'm certainly not ruling that out, and I appreciate your comments, Joe. I really do. But if
the big thing, Eric, is if it's ever done, it needs to be the residents do it.
That's what I was about to say. Mark, you are a resident. You are on one of our boards. I think more people like yourself need to come to us, and I'm putting out a call for those people who have come up to me, frankly, in the recent past, and said they're concerned about it. Okay, I'm parroting what other people have told me, but I think we need to hear from our general public that maybe we should consider revisiting it, but it can't come from us. It has to come from you guys, because it just wouldn't look right. I mean, Joe and I aren't running anymore. I assume you're not running anymore, Joe. And so, it gives us a different and unique perspective on term limits. But the others can, or might. They're certainly young enough to. And I would hope they would consider it. But the truth is, it does need to come from the public. And I hope that those people who feel that way will come to that microphone next month, the month after, and express their opinions and ask us to revisit it if that's what they want.
Eric, That's not the way it should go. Let them do the petition like this other group. They need to form their own group and so forth and do that. That's the way it should be.
Fine. And we
It should be about them. If people come to us, I mean, 70% of the people voted for this. I know I've already spoken to probably 60% of the 30% that voted against it. I mean, because everybody that's come up to me. But the problem is we get to credibility, and that's really the biggest issue we face. And I just think if there's people out there, they could form the same group that, the group out there did. And they form, for lengthening term limits, and go get the petitions and get it on the ballot the same way. That's the best way to do it. Because then it's them doing it, not, we don't have anything.
That's what I'm saying. It needs to come, it needs to be a grassroots movement, okay? Can't come from us. Unfortunately, we're term limited, as they say. Okay. Next, Tom Carnes.
Good evening, Tom Carnes. Here tonight representing the PGA Corridor Association. Our mission statement is to preserve, protect, and enhance the PGA Corridor Association and PGA Corridor, and to promote it as the premier business corridor in South Florida. I've been up here numerous times, more than I can count, and it seems like every time I'm up here, the city gets another award. And again, tonight, once again, there's another award. And that on top of reading good things in the newspaper this morning, it's really a red letter day for the city. Well, congratulations to the staff and everyone that keeps things up. And I'd like to know who those people are that got the speeding tickets in the city, so that the police department rating was a little below the fire department, because that gets personal when you do that. But the other thing I'd like to know is how they got 400 people to stay on the line to answer all those questions. I mean, I usually hang up after the third one. And how come retail sales weren't higher? I mean, people were only looking at 88 or 89% as the reason why they live in the city. I mean, certainly it should be much higher than that. So I'm just kind of cleaning up some housekeeping items here. We do have the state of the city address by the new mayor on April 22nd, breakfast meeting. I believe it's at the Marriott, so please plan on attending that. And I haven't heard anything about the Diamond Project other than what we read in the paper a couple of weeks ago, but hopefully that's moving forward and going in the right direction. Everyone is really excited about that in the future, that the jobs that's going to bring to the city for all our children, and so that they can live in this place where everyone but 4% of the people want to live. And it's too bad they didn't ask those people where they live, because it'd be interesting to see, that 4% that aren't happy that they live here. I suspect that probably not a lot of them are in Old Palm, probably. So anyway, kudos to the Scouts here. I have 3 nephews live in West Palm Beach, and they are all Eagle Scouts. And boy, I always tell them that that's one thing that no one can ever take away from you. That goes on your resume for the rest of your life. Eagle Scout. I know President Bush, the first President Bush was an Eagle Scout, and as were a lot of very famous and honorable people. So congratulations, and please keep up the good work. And you all keep up the good work. We're here to help you any way we can. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you so much. You are a tremendous asset to the city, and the PGA Corridor Association is as well. And you in particular, I single you out because, Tom, you've been a very good friend to this city. And your boss, Sid Forbes, has too. Thank you. Marie Marino. Bless you, bless you.
Maria Marino, Windermere Way, Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. I'm just here to do a shout out to the council and to staff as a Parks and Rec advisory board member, I was also at the ribbon cutting for the tennis center, and being a PGA resident where there are 10 golf courses right at that intersection, it's nice to see a tennis center for the public that has national recognition as something that is serving our municipality. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you, Maria. And it is a world-class center. It really is. I mean, you couldn't get better if you went to Old Palm, for instance, right? And it's kudos to our staff for having done that and running a great program, really great program. Okay, that's all I have from the public. Next is the consent agenda.
Move consent.
Second. Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Passes 5-0. Okay. Public hearings, I got to do this. All right. Tonight, we are holding quasi-judicial hearings on the following cases. Ordinance 6, 2015, first reading, application from Mirasol Club and Association. Resolution 16, 2015, application from Mirasol Club and Association, which will be after the first reading and on the second reading. This means that the City Council is required by law to base its decision on the evidence contained in the record for this proceeding, which consists of the testimony at the hearing, the materials which are in the official city file on this application, and any documents presented during this hearing. The Council is also required by law to allow cross-examination of any witnesses who testify tonight. Cross-examination may occur after the staff, the applicant, and other participants have made their presentations and will be permitted in the order of the witness's appearance. It is necessary that anyone who testifies at the hearing remain until the conclusion of the hearing in order to be able to respond to any questions. If you plan to testify this evening or wish to offer written comments, please fill out a card and give it to the city clerk. The city clerk will now swear in all persons who intend to offer testimony this evening on any of these cases. Please stand.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Thank you, Patty. First is Ordinance 2, 2015, on second reading. Will the clerk read the title, please?
Ordinance 2, 2015, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, amending the City of Palm Beach Gardens budget for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2014, and ending September 30, 2015 inclusive, providing a conflicts clause, a severability clause, and authority to codify, providing an effective date and for other purposes.
Thank you. I'll open the public hearing. Has anything changed since the first reading?
Good evening. For the record, Alan Owens, Finance Administrator, and no, sir, there have been no changes since first reading.
Thank you, Alan. Okay. Anyone wishing to speak on this item? Now is the time. Seeing none, I'm going to close the hearing, bring back up for discussion or a motion.
Move Ordinance 2, 2015, on second reading for adoption.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes 5-0. Next, Ordinance 6, 2015, on first reading. Please read the title.
Ordinance 6, 2015, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, approving an application from Mirasol Club and Association Incorporated for an amendment to the Planned Community Development PCD Master Plan to update the tabular data related to the Mirasol Clubhouse expansion, providing a conflicts clause, a severability clause, and authority to codify, providing an effective date and for other purposes.
Thank you, Patty. This is a quasi-judicial. Are there any ex partes?
I don't know if it counts as an ex parte, but I've seen some articles in the newspaper about it.
Well,
I don't know if this counts as an ex parte, but I just spoke to Ann, and she had mentioned she's coming to the hearing. That's all we spoke about.
Okay, Joe?
I have none with regards to the presentation. I've had ongoing discussions with members or management about the project, but have not seen the presentation we're going to see tonight, so.
Okay, I haven't either, but I have had discussions with some of the people who have been concerned about this, but I haven't seen any of the plans at all. Okay. Ann, thanks.
Good evening. For the record, my name is Ann Booth. I'm with Urban Design Kilday Studios, and I'm here tonight representing the Mirasol Clubhouse for their proposed expansion project.
And you've been sworn in, correct?
And you've been sworn in?
I have been sworn in.
I'm going to open the public hearing. I forgot to do that. Go ahead, Ann.
Okay. We are here tonight for you to take a vote on first reading for the PCD master plan, but as a component to the application for the PCD master plan amendment, we're also going to be presenting the site plan amendment application details for your consideration so that you understand why we're asking for the PCD amendment. The PCD amendment is fairly straightforward. It's a technical issue with regard to the data that is on the master plan that limits the square footage for the clubhouse parcel. We're asking for that to be modified. We're also asking for site plan amendment approval for the clubhouse itself, and also an amendment to the Southwest Maintenance Facility, which is down off of PGA Boulevard. Clubhouse parcel is located in the center of the clubhouse community. The clubhouse community is a gated area within the Mirasol PCD. There are gates on both ends. The clubhouse is in the center. The Southwest Maintenance Facility is down in the southwest corner of the PCD, and it has its own access points. The proposed amendment, as I mentioned, for the PCD is to amend the data table to remove the square footage limitation for the clubhouse. Any future amendments to the clubhouse will still have to come back to the council or to staff for review and approval. This doesn't preclude you from, or the city staff from, having input on anything that we do in the future. It was a self-imposed limitation with regard to the square footage that could be built on the clubhouse site. The site plan amendment request will allow for the expansion of the clubhouse facilities, and I'll go into more detail as we go through the project, the presentation, and to allow for additional employee parking at the Southwest Maintenance Facility. The affected area of the clubhouse parcel itself is shown here in yellow. There are a number of modifications occurring to the existing buildings, and there will also be new buildings that will be constructed. There's currently about 86,000 square feet on the parcel, and we're proposing 137, almost 138,000 square feet for an increase of 51,000 square feet. The clubhouse itself will have modifications to the ballroom, the dining bar, the terraces, the card rooms, the outdoor seating, the kitchens, meeting rooms, the administrative offices, locker rooms, and storage. Out of the 19,600 square feet of additional square footage that's being added, about almost 9,000 of that will be for member services, to expand the areas where the members have access, to improve those areas so that they have a nicer area to eat and to play cards and to do all of the things that they do. About 10,000 square feet will be for staff. It's back of house, kitchen areas, things that, areas where the members are not typically allowed to go. And then about almost 2,700 square feet of that will be for outdoor seating. Some of that will be seating that will be served. Some of it is just casual seating. There will be fire pits and waterfalls and areas where people can get a drink and go out and sit and enjoy the evening. There will be a new pool house addition, which will be located adjacent to the new pools. It will include bathrooms and laundry facilities for the Esplanade, and it's about 1,600 square feet. The Esplanade itself will be, the existing Esplanade that is there will be completely removed, and a new Esplanade building, two-story building, will be replaced. It will include exercise rooms, manicure rooms, pedicure, hair and beauty treatments, cafe dining, a kitchen, administrative offices, steam room, sauna, therapy, massage, and locker rooms. The entire building will be about 3,700 square feet. There will be a new building constructed for the tennis operations. They have a very active tennis community here, and they have been sharing space in the Esplanade, and they have outgrown that space, and they need to have an opportunity to create a space of their own. So they're building about a 4,700 square foot building, one story. It will have a viewing area for the main tennis, the competition court, which will be immediately adjacent to it. And they'll also have a retail component for the sale of tennis paraphernalia. There will be some additional parking that will be added, golf cart parking primarily, but also parking areas will be modified and enhanced in front of the Esplanade and the drop-off areas for the Esplanade and the tennis building. There will be a new family aquatics area with cabanas. The existing pool will remain in its place, and the new family aquatics area will include cabanas and a lap pool and a walk-in pool and some other amenity areas that they don't currently have, and that'll be an expansion of the pool operations that they have. The landscaping, if you've ever been out there, is phenomenal, and the landscape architect has taken great efforts to identify plant material and trees that they can save and relocate. They are a lot of large mature trees, so they're planning on taking those trees, putting them in a tree farm on the property, and then replanting them next to the buildings so that there will be an immediate softening of the building, and they're going to try to preserve as many of those as they can. For some of the trees that they can't relocate, that they don't have a special place for, the city forester has asked us to relocate those within the community, and the applicant has agreed to do that. We have, for your pleasure tonight, a virtual tour which will take you through and give you a sense of what the community, hold on. There we go. What the community is
I would like to take
hopefully
you
gonna
on a
see.
virtual tour of the Mirasol Master Plan, which has been revised and developed since your last viewing of this video. Starting with an elevated view of the club campus with the new tennis center in the lower right, the new Esplanade building and aquatics complex in the foreground, and the multiple clubhouse expansions for added capacity. Down at the level of golf, you'll see a landscape buffer between the golf practice area and the aquatics, the grand ballroom expansions to the north, and the two-story casual dining terraces outside of the grill room. Bringing you up the alley of palm trees, past the fountain, and under the porte cochere into the main arrival. As the arrival doors open, you're going to see a greatly expanded lobby lounge experience for greeting guests and fellow members in soft seating groupings in a very residential and upscale environment. Processing into the pre-function lounge, you'll notice the doors to the grand ballroom opening. You'll see and enjoy a cocktail and hors d'oeuvre before the function in the grand ballroom. Notice the two-story glass looking out to the golf course in a very uplifting environment. A lot of natural daylight by day, beautiful landscaping in the evening, processing into the magnolia and gardenia rooms with finishes to make a seamless experience. Here you'll notice the remodeled lounge space into a signature restaurant where Chef Michael can showcase his culinary talents in this stylish but intimate upscale dining venue, complete with fireplace along the back wall and an illuminated wine display. Downstairs, the expanded grill room provides a true 19th hole experience with an eat-at bar, high-top tables, a more intimate grill room experience with family table, large radius banquette, and an interactive grill room experience with culinary display in the space. The expanded co-ed card room multi-purpose room with large north-facing glass overlooking the golf course. The remodeled grill room into a women's card room offering separation between the active and quiet games. And the outdoor covered and patio dining experience with lush landscaping, water features, and fire urns overlooking the short game practice area. The new Esplanade complex with one-story tennis, the two-story fitness spa bistro building, and a covered arrival taking you back through the landscape garden and looking back to the two-story Esplanade building with a covered poolside dining experience below. Into the two-story lobby space with a grand stair up to the level of fitness, a view to the spa beyond with an elevator lobby, and an arrival into the hair and nail salon area with a reception to greet you for your treatment. The walk down into the serenity of the spa with the water features at arrival, and into the wet lounges to facilitate your relaxation in a mineral pool. Upstairs, we enter the main fitness floor overlooking the aquatics below and out to the golf course beyond. The tennis shop was redesigned with a lounge in the retail shop overlooking the covered viewing terrace and the teaching court. Before and after your activity of choice, come to the new Esplanade Cafe to gather inside or poolside under cover and enjoy casual food and beverage suitable for your active lifestyle. The existing pool, enjoyed by all, has been enhanced with new landscaping and perimeter cabanas to provide privacy and separation from the new family pools, with bodies of water and aquatics activities enjoyed by the many generations of Mirasol members. And as the day winds down and the sun begins to set, you've enjoyed another perfect day at Mirasol.
Well, that's impressive.
I'm going to show you some stills of the images that you just saw in the video. It should be noted that the landscape material that's being shown is an artist's interpretation of what's out there or what's being proposed. As you can see, the overview is similar to what's existing in terms of the clubhouse being in its main. There's only a small area here and around the backside and on this side that are being expanded. The Esplanade will be new and the tennis building will be new. The ballroom expansion upstairs and the card room expansion downstairs will, as you saw in the video, have a vista of the golf course. The upper deck here on the terrace will open up and be available for people to enjoy food from the grill room. Downstairs, on either side of the terrace, there will be stairs that will take them down to the lower level. And down in this area, there will be casual seating with fire pits and waterfalls. As you can see, the architecture will be consistent with what is existing. Colors and materials will also be consistent. The tennis building will have, as I mentioned, the covered terrace, which will overlook the championship course, or the court, for activities when they have tournaments and group plays. The pool areas, the cabanas, which will be additional, and the Family Aquatic Center. As I mentioned, all of the colors, materials, fixtures, fences, roof tiles will all be consistent with what is existing there today. The new Aquatic Center for aerobics. Parking. We are required to have 594 parking spaces. We will be providing 459 regular car parking spaces and 216 golf parking spaces. In addition to that, the reason that we are including the Southwest Maintenance Facility in this application is that they will be building 69 parking spaces at that facility, which will be for employees of the clubhouse. So that will remove 69 cars from the clubhouse facility down to that operation, which will open up those spaces for members as well. We are not increasing the number of members. There is not an anticipated demand on parking that we don't think can be met. It is for convenience of the members. The demand varies during the day. If you have like daytime activities, golf, tennis, a large number of the members bring their golf carts and arrive by golf cart during the day. A few bring their golf carts at night, more bring their cars at night, but there is adequate parking now for the members that are there. This will provide for additional parking for those members. They have taken they're going very quickly in this process. I'm sure you've read in the paper that they've had a vote with the community. We are actively at this point pursuing, trying to, if you're with your approval, to get building permits as quickly as possible following your approval. To that end, we have taken the steps to identify how they will function and operate during construction. They have worked out a temporary tent and trailer plan, which allows for reduced activities for the members. Clubhouse activities will occur in a tent and trailer area over by the existing bag drop. There will be a room for cards, playing cards. There will be a dining room. There will be a kitchen area, a kitchen tent. All of the operations for the clubhouse operation will occur in this area. There will be an employee trailer which will reside in the parking lot just to the south. And then the Esplanade and tennis operations will have tents and trailers down by the existing sports complex. In the Esplanade, tent will be fitness and exercise equipment, and then there will also be a trailer which will be the spa trailer, where if you want to have your manicures and pedicures, you can go to the spa trailer. During the second phase of operation, they will transition, when the clubhouse actually opens, they'll transition over so that all of the tents and trailers and the encumbrances on the parking area on the east side of the site will open up, and they will continue construction of the Esplanade, and upon completion of the Esplanade, all of the trailers and tents will be removed. Here's a layout of the temporary trailers and tents for both the clubhouse and the Esplanade. These are not your normal trailers and tents. This is a very nice facility that will provide, on a temporary basis for at least a year, a space where the members can go that want to continue to come to the facility. They have decided to do the construction of both the Esplanade and the clubhouse at one time. They had at one point thought that they might try and split those up, but apparently there was an overwhelming sentiment that the members were interested in doing it all at once, getting it done and moving on, rather than extending it out and staggering the construction. Southwest Maintenance Facility currently is approved for trailers, boats, storage of RVs, and a storage building, maintenance storage building, which houses, there's storage there. It also houses some of the maintenance operation in that building. We are proposing to modify the area to, instead of having RVs and boat storage there, as I mentioned, to create an employee parking lot. There will be 69 parking spaces. We'll have a shelter for them where they can wait for their shuttle bus to pick them up. There will still continue to be some limited RV, boat, and storage parking spaces that will be gated and secured, but the employee parking will occur here, and they have a shuttle bus system where the employees come in on shifts. They have a 20-passenger bus that they will pick them up, take them to the clubhouse, and then at the end of their shift, they will bring it back. The parking lot will be improved with lighting. It will be paved, and we will be adding additional landscaping to the existing buffer and landscaping to the parking lot. We will require a waiver approval for the parking spaces because the use that's on that site only requires parking for that particular building, which is only 3 spaces. Because we're providing additional parking over and above what that use requires, we are required to ask for a waiver for the additional spaces. So in summary, we need to tonight and on first reading address the PCD amendment It's my understanding they will not be taking a vote on the ordinance on Resolution 16, but you will need to, I guess, take a vote on Ordinance 6. Staff does recommend approval. The Planning Board also recommended approval. We have the General Manager, Matt Lambert, is here to answer any questions that you might have, and Sean, and I always murder his name, I apologize, Suku from Peacock and Lewis, the architect, is also here to answer any questions. I also wanted to take a moment to thank staff. They have been tireless in helping us get to this point. This has been a major project, and to get us onto the agendas that we're on and to process us through as we've been waiting for the community vote, they've been wonderful, and they've been very helpful, and we wanted to thank them. So.
Thank you, Lane. Any questions? Joe?
I have one. I'm amazed of the boat and RV parking. How many, the boat and RV parking, how many spaces is there going to be for that?
I think there's about 3 or 4 that will be provided. It was originally the entire parking space, or the entire lot, and it was underutilized. There were maybe 1 or 2 boat and parking RVs there.
I'm just amazed that the community would even have it, that's all.
Yeah.
Any other questions? No? Okay. Staff? Thanks, Ann.
Good evening. For the record, my name is Samash bin Rahman with the Planning and Zoning Department. I have been sworn in. Ms. Ann Booth has given a pretty thorough presentation, so I will try to be brief tonight. So this is the first reading for Ordinance 6, 2015, and this is for the Marisol PCD amendment and site plan amendment. The Marisol PCD was originally called the Golf Digest PCD, and it was approved in 1998. The Marisol Clubhouse parcel was approved in 2001, and the Southwest Maintenance Facility was approved in 2002. There's currently a square footage notation on the PCD master plan for the clubhouse parcel that restricts it to 100,000 square feet. The applicant is proposing to remove that. The maximum number of stories will remain as it is today. The square footage limitation that is on the PCD master plan, it is not consistent with other communities in the city. For example, Ballonals PCD or Old Palm PCD. So this request in front of you tonight is more housekeeping in nature, and the PCD amendment is consistent with the site plan amendment. In terms of landscaping, what is being proposed exceeds code. 15% is required. The applicant is proposing 40% open space. There are some minor drainage modifications proposed due to the new tennis center building. In terms of parking, as Ms. Booth has reviewed, there's 594 parking spaces that are required. The applicant is proposing 459 car parking spaces and 216 golf cart parking spaces. And this is also consistent with other communities in the city, for example, Frenchman's Creek PCD and Ballonals PCD. The architecture is consistent with what is out there today. These are some images that we took. This is the existing Esplanade building. This is the existing clubhouse building. As you can see, the architecture is consistent. The applicant is proposing to complete the construction in one phase with 2 temporary tents and trailers. These are some images. As you can see, these are temporary structures, but they will be there for some time. So staff is recommending a condition of approval that within 24 hours of an announcement of a tropical storm or hurricane, that these tents shall be removed. The Southwest Maintenance Facility, this is an image from Google Earth that we took. As you can see, it is currently unpaved. There's no lighting. There's minimal landscaping. The applicant is proposing to provide landscaping lighting per code requires in order to provide the 69 additional parking spaces for the clubhouse employees. There's also one waiver request in front of you tonight, which is for the additional parking spaces at the Southwest Maintenance Facility. Staff is recommending approval. This will provide for additional parking opportunities for employees at the clubhouse so that more residents have spaces at the clubhouse parcel. And it will also improve this existing underutilized site. To conclude, the clubhouse parcel has existed on this site since 2001. The Southwest Maintenance Facility was approved in 2002, and it has served as a parking and storage area for the Mirasol PCD. The number of residents will not increase with the proposed expansion, and the proposal will improve the existing conditions at the Southwest Maintenance Facility. The proposed building additions and improvements are architecturally consistent with what is out there today, and staff is recommending approval of the waiver. With this, staff recommends approval of Ordinance 6, 2015 on first reading. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions of staff?
I just have one with regards to the number of parking spots. I'm not so much worried about the daytime when you have golf carts out there. I think that's totally understandable. I'm just worried about at night. If you have 594 spots and you have roughly 530 spaces, you're going to have about a 60-spot shortage if you have special events or that many people, 594, come to the clubhouse. So I guess in terms of internally for the community, what's the contingency plan if you have 594 people there that night all driving a car? I'm just trying to do a worst-case scenario. How do we stack them and where do you put them?
Sure.
Bert, they tell them to take their golf carts.
Oh, at night I'm concerned.
No, but I'm just telling you,
Yeah.
like when there's a major event in Ballin Isles, like they'll have, let's say, a kickoff party, or like next month they're having a goodbye party or kick off the summer. They'll ask people to bring their golf carts as opposed to the cars because there isn't going to be enough room for them, and that's usually what they do in the communities. So
Yeah,
people do ride over in their golf carts.
I believe it 100%, but I'm just worried, summertime you have a wedding or some event where you have guests coming in from outside the community, obviously, that are going to be driving. So is there a kind of a plan in place for that? That's all I'm wondering.
The 594 parking spaces that is required, that's based on providing parking for all of the facilities in the clubhouse at one period of time. So the 594 took into account that people are playing at the basketball courts, they're playing at the tennis courts. It takes into account the fitness facility, essentially all the services at one period of time. But the fact of the matter is that all the uses within the clubhouse parcel are complementary. So people are essentially coming for the fitness things during the day versus they're coming for the clubhouse at night. So when you actually break down that parking demand, that number, the 594 parking spaces, it's much less. It's a much lower number.
So we think, and I'm sure the club thinks that that's adequate enough for nighttime activity?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you.
And most people valet, don't they, anyway? Right?
Yes, there are valet services.
Oh, they got to park them somewhere, I know. I realize that. Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Marcy?
And just to reiterate that the residents voted on this and they are 100% in support, obviously with the vote that they did to move forward with this. Well,
About 100%.
100% of the people that voted,
60,
the vote was a majority.
It was a majority vote,
Obviously not
yes.
100%
There was
of
a
people
90
voted, I know that. I live in
Yes.
the HOA too.
94% of the residents voted.
Which is great. That's an amazing turnout.
Right.
Yeah,
So I think that that's a phenomenal number.
it requires a lot of money. That's why with 94%,
Yeah, absolutely, of course.
it's a big deal.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Okay, no other questions? I'll close the public hearing, bring it back up for a discussion and/or a motion.
Move ordinance 6, 2015 on first reading.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Passes 5-0. Next. Thank you. See you on second reading.
Happy holidays.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, you too. Next is Resolution 15, 2015. Clerk will read the title.
Resolution 15, 2015, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, approving an agreement with Wesco Turf Incorporated for golf maintenance equipment through an existing contract with the State of Florida, number 760-000-10-1, providing an effective date and further purposes.
Staff?
Good evening, City Council. My name is Kumra, Purchasing and Contracts Director, and with me is Charlotte Brzezinski, who is the city's projects director. She has current responsibilities for the golf course management. The item before you is Resolution 15, 2015, for the purchase of golf course maintenance equipment. Currently, we try to maintain a certain standard for the turf and the greens and the fairways. We try to maintain USGA standards. The city currently leases the current equipment from Toro. This is the brand we have standardized on, and we lease them over 48 months periods. Every 4 years, we get a new lease and we return the equipment to the vendor. The decision was taken this year to, instead of leasing, we would purchase these, and Charlotte can explain better to you why we made that decision.
There we go. Good evening, Council. Charlotte Przensky for the record. We are looking at purchasing this equipment this year. It helps us offset the expenditure annually in our budget. There is that lease payment. If we purchase it outright, it has a positive impact on the budget. Additionally, this year, the budget contained the ability to increase the lease, to add a couple pieces of equipment that we needed because of the turf renovation. We have the capabilities in-house to maintain this equipment through useful life of 6 to 10 years. And for us, this is just a much better situation. So we're proposing a lease. The funding was included in tonight's budget amendment that you passed.
The current lease expires in June. We have already notified the vendor we're returning the equipment, and he has put us on a month-to-month. So as soon as we get the new equipment, we'll be able to return the old equipment. The types of equipment include utility carts, greens mowers, fairway mowers, rough mowers, bunker rakes, sprayers, etc. I don't know what all that means, but I don't play golf. We're going to be accessing the state of Florida's contract for the purchase of this equipment. By accessing this contract, we're able to save ourselves about 20% on the retail pricing, rather than if we went out and bid this ourselves. Wesco Turf has been around since 1987. They're part owners of Toro Equipment brand. We're going to be buying it through their local dealer, Hector Turf. And of course, recommending approval. Any questions?
Questions?
I just have a comment. I mean, if you're going to get 6 to 10 years where you really only had 4 years, I mean, obviously when you return the equipment, there's really not a lot of value in it. I mean, they've probably got most of the price of the equipment out of the lease. So if you're going to keep it for 6 to 10 years, it makes sense. The only concern I have is that you really got to make sure that the maintenance is done properly so that you do get the closer to 10, because if you don't maintain it properly, so I think that that's something you're going to have to be on top of.
Agree, and we did purchase with this is included an extended warranty to cover parts and specialty labor that we may need from Toro just in case. So that's extended out to the first 4 years. And again, I'm completely confident in the mechanic that we have with the backup of our fleet department to support us if we need. So in a total package, it will position us better in the future for expenses and maintenance-wise.
Actually, I was going to follow up. I think you pretty well answered the question I have. The mechanic that's going to be working on this for regular maintenance, because regular maintenance, oil changes, and those types of things are the way to keep a vehicle going for a long time, such as a 23-year-old Jeep. The question I have is that mechanic is assigned out to the golf course?
Yes, he is. He's there. He's funded through our golf maintenance budget. He is assigned there. But again, through Mike Morrow's assistance, we also have the support of the fleet department if we need.
Okay, so any type of specialty repair, so he's going to be doing general maintenance on these. A specialty type of repair could then be done by the mechanics over at Public Works. And would you transport the equipment to Public Works, or would the mechanic come out to?
Actually, the specialty maintenance will be completed by our mechanic. He is highly trained in Toro, and one of the things we're looking at is sending him to Toro School next year to increase his certifications. Part of the package also is that we'll be purchasing him a lift that will be able to lift this equipment so we don't have to transport to the fleet department.
So we'll have a lift out there that can, okay. And when he goes to the Toro School, you'll forgive me for this, is he going to come back with a black Matador cape?
I will ask him if that's part of the graduation.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, seeing none, let's bring it back up for any discussion.
Move Resolution 15, 2015.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Passes 5-0. Okay, we're through with the regular meeting. We have items for council action and discussion. First up is appointment of council members to external boards. It's
Does anybody want to change anything,
I-
or should we keep
you know-
the way it is?
I can leave it the way it is. Bert, do you want to continue to do all the things that you did, or do you want to hand something over to me as a mayor? It
Well,
doesn't matter to me.
Commissioner Valachay's meeting, you probably need to attend that.
Yes, that's definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Intergovernmental meetings?
Yes.
Yeah.
The North
That's
County
for the mayor.
Intergovernmental. And I'll like to continue on MPO. Ron's going to continue. I'm just going down the list. The bioscience, Joe, you're going to
Yes,
continue
I'll
with
continue
that.
with
And
that.
North County Chamber, Life Science, you're going to continue with that. David, you're going to be on League of Cities, Workforce Alliance.
You may have to do that.
That's Bert.
Does the mayor need to be on that, though? I think it has to be the mayor. Okay. Okay, I'll stay on that, that's fine.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, great. Water Resources Task Force, that's David, you're the hydrologist in our midst. And Economic Development Advisory Board, Joe, you want to keep doing that?
Yes.
And Marcy, you're on Treasure Coast, right?
Correct.
Okay, I think we've covered it.
Keep them all the same.
We'll keep them all the same. Okay, except for intergovernmental, that's Valachay's board.
And I had told Cindy DiFilippo that you'd probably be attending the next meeting. I think it might be next week.
Next week?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll
And
do it.
actually, I'll be attending as well because they're talking about the park.
Okay, cool, very good. Okay, next is appointment of council members to internal boards. Anyone want to change, flip, exchange?
Everything's good.
I think we'll remain the same. Okay, next is city manager contract extension. This was brought forward at the council action September 3rd, 2014. Anyone want to start this discussion, or you want me to jumpstart it? Frankly, just let me start. We all know that there's term limits coming up. 4 of us are going to be gone. For continuity's sake, I think it's really vital and important that we give the city manager an extension to his contract so that he feels comfortable staying on and the ability to continue after we're gone. We're not going anywhere far away, hopefully. We're all going to be sitting out in the audience, but we're not going to be voting. So my suggestion is to give him an extension to his contract, the same contract, and all of you have read the contract? So I think the city attorney has discussed it with you. My recommendation would be to bring it out to 2020. Is there any discussion about that?
I'm going to agree with you on the 2020, and the reason why is that, I want to almost say a hindsight joke here, but actually, I'm going to be term limited out in 2019. That will give the whole brand-new council 1 year to evaluate, Ron. I think 2020 would be a good time.
2020 hindsight.
That other council's going to be on its way out, too.
In 6 years, they will, yes.
Yes, but that's 4 years. I think that's appropriate. We've normally given a 3-year council,
Yes, I know.
Look,
extension.
I was the one that asked to bring this back in April, and again, I think it's more important now than ever. I always felt I wouldn't want to saddle a new council with someone maybe they didn't want to work with, but in this particular case, the next 2 years, everybody's still going to be in place, and it's going to take another year or two of the new council and the whole thing. Not to mention, I think in his last year to 2 years, he needs to be training who the replacement would be. I don't really want to. I would hate to see the city go out cold and do a nationwide search and bring somebody in that. We did that before and it really didn't work, and I guess I have a bad feeling about that. So I really like to see, in his last couple years, bring somebody in and groom them, and that's assuming that there's nobody here. I mean, he's got a staff here, and there might be somebody here that could step up and do it. So I don't look at the 5 years as being, I might have looked at the 5 years being too long if we didn't have the term limits, but he's going to have the only continuity we have here. And it's, so I think it's more important. No different than the county. I mean, they're struggling now to replace Bob Weissman. That's going to be a very difficult thing to do, so.
Difficult decision. Okay, anybody else? Marcy?
No, I just want to reiterate what you said, and I think that I agree with what you all are saying. However, I do think that a succession plan is important
at the end of that term. And like you're saying, I don't want it to be a surprise for anybody. I think it's something that should be very well thought out because the history, the continuity is very important, and that is something that needs to happen, like you said, excuse me, in good timing to make sure that that happens.
I'd like to see replacement hired as potential replacement in place 2 years out.
I absolutely agree with you.
So, but that's for somebody else to decide.
Considering extending the contract, but I think Ron gets the gist of what we would like him to do in the very near future. Okay. Chair will entertain a motion to that effect.
Motion to direct the city attorney to prepare a contract extension to the year 2020.
For the city manager.
For the city manager, yes.
And authorize the mayor to sign it, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes 5-0. Okay. City attorney report?
Well, actually, under items for council discussion, I do want to say thank you for the survey, Ron, for putting that together, and or staff, whoever helped to make that happen. It was very interesting. Obviously, I was not here during the first survey, so it was good to see both numbers, and I appreciate the format that you put it in. I would like to talk about this in the future at another council meeting, obviously not at this one, because I'd like to read this thoroughly and digest the information. I do understand, and I've heard a lot of comments in regards to one of the number one issues, or one of the number three, I should say, which was traffic, which was one of the three, as being a big concern. I know it's a big concern in the future. I've talked to staff in just briefly in regards to some ideas that I've been kind of researching, and you also as well, Ron. Multimodal transportation is something that I mentioned at the growth management meeting, and I'm glad to see that there was some information from the public on a trolley system or a train or any type of multimodal transportation, and the funding response as well. So I would like to talk about that in the future, and I also would like an opportunity to meet with staff to bounce some of those ideas that I have in regards to those thoughts, because I do think that we need to think creatively out of the box. Obviously, Military Trail, PGA, North Lake Boulevard, you can't expand, so we do have to think outside the box and work on these things, because obviously in 2006 growth was a big concern, so it did decrease because during that process, this time we just finished a terrible recession, so growth was pretty stifled for many years, and now it's starting to climb a little bit, so we do need to be cognizant of that, and I appreciate the information. Thank you.
I don't know where you go with that. I mean, the biggest problem is, take a look at North Lake Boulevard now, what a disaster that's become. And every one of these approvals that gets approved wherever it is comes back to us. I mean, all that traffic comes back, and I don't know how, again, we're not going to have, let's say, any additional growth within our city, within North Lake and PGA Boulevard and so forth. But we have so much coming from other areas that comes into us, and it's I mean, it's going to be, if you're on North Lake Boulevard and you have to go, let's say, from Military Trail down to, let's say, MacArthur Boulevard, you can barely, those cars are stopped, not moving. It's really very, very bad.
Absolutely, and there are technologically advanced ways that we can deal with traffic, not just by increasing lanes of traffic, and there are also land use, ways by means of land use, and like I'm talking
Can't we get like an app?
multimodal.
Can we get an app for it?
Absolutely,
Get an app?
multimodal means of transportation, and there are ways of doing it. It's just being proactive versus reactive.
And I think it's
a conversation.
I think it's very good. I agree.
Okay, great. Anybody else? No? City attorney report?
The only thing I'll tell you about, just really briefly, I'm not going to delve into the details of our litigation with regards to Palm Beach Puppies, but I will tell you that things are progressing well, and there was a recent court decision out of the federal court in Rhode Island. It was Perfect Puppies Incorporated versus the city of East Providence, Rhode Island, and it was an unbelievably positive ruling by the federal court related to East Providence and their ban on the retail sale of cats and dogs and puppies, and to try and thwart and curb the demand for the animals, thereby negatively impacting, or positively impacting, I guess, really the puppy mill issue. It's a very, very positive opinion for us. There are a lot of aspects of their ordinance are similar to ours, and so I think it's going to help our case a great deal, and I'm very encouraged by that, and I'll keep you apprised of how we progress along.
Did you see all of the non-human signs that were on the corner, the political signs that were being waved this past weekend regarding the animal facility that's at the Publix Shopping Center on the corner of PGA Military?
I didn't personally see it, but I was aware of the fact that there was
They were out
something
there
going on.
quite a lot this past weekend in regards to what you're saying and against puppy mills and the pet shop.
Well, yeah, you did a great job, Mr. City Attorney, in crafting that ordinance so well that it's going to pass muster and probably going to be a template for everybody else to use across the country. I hope that they do use it. I really do. Before we adjourn, I do want to wish Joni Elias a happy birthday. Do you mind me telling everybody how old you are? 86. 86. And let me also say.
Another 14 years.
Okay, you got it. And any of you who would like to take a ride around the parking lot with her in her new hot car, she's just bought for her birthday. It's in the parking lot. It's fire engine. Well, it's not fire engine red. It's cherry red, and it's a Dodge Challenger. It's a hot car for a hot grandma.
You mean that was you that went speeding past me in the parking lot?
For all the police, for the police chief, please remember that there is a hot mama out there. Please, but she does obey the speed limit. Okay. Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Thank you all. Have a very happy Easter and a very happy Passover.